Hey, welcome to the DroneFather channel. Today, we're going to be discussing three topics: the history of the quadcopter and drones, Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, and the being able to videograph at sunrise and sunset. All right, guys. Now, here in the panel, we have Robby from Travel Tech 360.
Hey, everybody.
Rob from River City RVA.
Brad.
Did I call you Rob? Oh my gosh. Somebody give the man a drink. I'm so embarrassed. My apologies.
All right, take two.
Take two. And me, Johnson and Al Duran. Thanks for joining, guys. Yeah, it's real, right? We make mistakes, and the important thing is we gotta recover from them. Hopefully, you guys are not too annoyed.
The funny part, though, Al, is my first name is Robert, so I guess you had it right.
You could have been Robby. Yeah, you're right. So we've been talking about, a lot about the little Zino Mini Pro, and that's going to be in discussion today. And of course, the history of the quadcopter and UAVs is also a very interesting topic. So anything you guys want to start off before we jump into the topic, guys?
No, just want to welcome everybody in. That we've already got a few folks in. We got Matt Cundiff. Thank you for stopping by, brother. Johnny's in the house. And some more folks I'm sure will be sliding in here soon. So we'll get it rolling.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate it. And one of the other things that we wanted to kind of talk about maybe a little later is like maybe do around or kind of talk about a little spin up, try to give it some momentum, get some people down to spin up. I think that'd be a good thing to do. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, help Kelly break even this year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll touch on that just for a moment. I know Kelly personally, and he doesn't lie about that at all. He has never broken even. So it's pretty tough. He loves to give back to the community, and we can get back into more discussion about this later. But yeah he never has broken even. So we definitely, I think this year it might be a little different. I think he's going to have a big bunch of people coming because everybody wants to get out.
Understood. Yeah. Okay, so why don't we just get to the first topic, and that'll be the history of the drone. So I know that Brad had the opportunity to actually meet in person today because he was working near my home. And I mean, I tell you how nice this guy has been. He came over with lunch, and not only did he feed me, he fed my wife and my daughter. How cool is that? Big shout out. Thank you, man. Thank you.
All good. You're welcome.
Man, that was awesome. I think you won a couple of friends here in my family,
I forgot to bring something there for Leo, though. Your dog Leo. I forgot all about him. Next time I'll bring him his own hamburger next time.
Yeah, he would love you dearly for that. Okay, so what I'm going to do and go over the slides we started with, and we all can jump in this thing at any time, okay? And we'll be looking at, since I'm going to be sharing my screen, you guys will have to just kind of let me know if there's some comments in the background.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and put it in presentation mode.
Yeah, I'll say a little bit on top of this, Al, while you're working on that. Yeah. Al and I worked on this some today. The folks that are in here watching and in the chat, we didn't go into the complete history of drones, UAVs, and quadcopters. We kind of did an overview. We found some great information, and Al put together a real nice deck to present here today and a couple of pictures. So looking forward to seeing the end product that you put together there, Al.
Okay, so drones or unmanned aircraft, what are the origins? Who made them, and where and when did this all occur, right? So those are the kind of things that always kind of interest me. How about you guys? You guys have an interest in the history of how we started flying with quadcopters?
Absolutely.
Definitely. Always.
So Abraham Karim, interesting gentleman, man. He was born in Baghdad, but he was a Jew, and he was born to, Israeli parents or Jewish parents. And he was one of the really, really interesting characters in the development of UAVs. And that's basically what we see today in the modern world of like the Predator type stuff, right? And in 1951, I believe that's when he was born. And in 77, he came over to the United States. But prior to coming to the United States, I mean, let me speed up the timelines here, because here's his timeline. So he was born in 51. In 1970, he graduated from aeronautical engineer from Technion in Israel. And in 73, he built his drone during the Yom Kippur War for the Israeli Air Force. And the drone was a glider, a decoy glider, okay? And so it basically just kind of, spoof you by putting up all these gliders, and everybody thought the Air Force was over here, but they weren't. So that was...
They were decoys, right?
Yeah, they were decoys, exactly what they were, yeah. And like we stated earlier, in 77, he immigrated to the United States and founded the Leading System, Inc. in his home garage. In 1981, Karim and his team were flying the Albatross prototype, and this is the one you see in the upper right-hand quadrant. So that Albatross prototype flew for 56 hours at a time. So he had a team of pilots that flew this thing. So this obviously got the attention of DARPA. And in 81, he got a DARPA program. He got funded to develop this technology. And then in 83, he was awarded the contracts with the Navy and the Army to develop the first military drone called Amber. And that's what you see in the lower picture over Abraham Karim's left shoulder, which looks very familiar to other drones, right? Which is the Predator. So that's what Amber became the Predator in 87, and he sold 200 of these for $350,000 to the Army and Navy. Pretty good gig, don't you think, Robby?
Yeah, it's pretty good there.
That's a good gig, man. So, but the congressional fundings fell through, and in 1994, Karim was running a short of funds, so he sold the company to General Atomics. In 94, the General Atomics was awarded a contract to produce this NAT 750, and I believe this is the NAT 750 behind that shoulder, the Predator, which is the same thing he was developing earlier. But excuse me about that. I just hit the button. And that became Amber, I believe. Just synonymous, I think, both of those from what I've read. It's a little confusing on the timelines, but the bottom line is that drone you see over his shoulder is actually Amber, and was soon renamed Predator. So what is he doing now? Well, he's making quadcopters, electric, battery-operated copters. The project is called Butterfly. It's an electric-powered air taxi called Butterfly. Not sure where he's at on it, but he's developed this technology, and hopefully he'll get it to market soon. So moving forward to the specific quadcopter history. I think I skipped the slide, guys. My apologies. Yeah. So 1907, Brad, how do you pronounce that name?
Either Briquette or Briquet.
The Briquet brothers built the first rotary wing aircraft, and it actually lifted up off the ground, but it was tied down so it wouldn't fly away. And after it was made, it wasn't clear how the quadcopter could be controlled. But at least it flew a couple feet off the ground a couple times before it was put away. So
pretty amazing. That was 114 years ago.
That is crazy, Brad.
It is. It's pretty amazing. That's where it all started, basically, right there.
Yeah. Okay. So to solve the problems that the helicopter pilots were having with the, vertical takeoff, engineers developed this quadcopter. And you're talking 1920s now, just to make sure, to give you the timeline here. So how do you pronounce this last name, Brad?
The Etienne Omniscient, maybe?
Robby, you want to give that a try?
Well, I see the word omni in there, so I'm just going to say omnichin.
Omnichin or omniscient, either way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did notice one thing. The picture is not real clear because it is an old photo. But if you look up under where the guy's sitting, just below where his foot is, you see a DroneFather logo. It's got it all over it.
These guys are killing. That's funny as hell. Bust my chops. I get it.
I had everybody looking, didn't I?
Yeah,
you actually had me staring pretty hard.
Yeah.
That was a good one, Robby. You got one. All right, so we continue. All right, I'll share it again and keep going. Okay, so check out this aircraft though. So it does have. What do you guys see in this picture? I've been trying to figure out how those propellers are being, spun, right?
Yeah, I mean, how many props are we seeing? We're seeing 4.
Yeah.
I see 4, but it looks like all the props. I don't know which way they're. I would guess they would have had to have done the same type of spinning that we have on our props, on our drones today. So 2 go one direction and the other 2 go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Or else it would just flip right over. But
I wonder what material they used on that.
Well, and let me point out this. You see those 2 rails on top?
Yeah.
That's a cable system.
Oh, so they're driving off of a motor in the middle.
What looks like to be this big top right here in the middle? That's what's propelling the cable. Right?
It's got to be lightweight props. There's no way there's going to be something.
Oh no, this is going to be made out of you remember
bamboo or something.
Well, not only that, but you remember putting like this paper mache on your kites when you were a kid? Well, I grew up in Guatemala.
Now that was before my time.
Well, in Central America, that's what you did to fly kites, man. You made, like you said, out of straw. It was crazy. I'm serious. I'll stop sharing for a second. Yeah, I'm serious. It was crazy. You would make a long diamond with hay, something light, and you tied it together and like that cellophane paper around it, and you glued it, and then you tied you a really light string, and then you put a tail on it, and you flew it. That's how you did it. It was crazy. All right, let me get back on point.
Sure, that thing was ultra light, definitely.
Yeah, crazy, right? So I'm going to share again. Here we go. So yeah, this is what it looks like, guys. So right in the middle here is some kind of, top spinning, and then it's got all these cables or belts, better said, belts spinning these props there. It looks like they have this makeshift bearings with a long shaft all the way through there. You can see the shaft at the top being supported by those struts.
I will say this, we would have shared a larger photo for you folks, but they didn't have 4K back then.
I was wondering why it was black and white. When I see this picture, it reminds me of the Hindenburg just before it went down.
Oh yeah,
looks like the same error there.
Oh man, that's a rough picture you painted in my mind.
Hey, I like that. It says over here the drone news media said definitely not a 249 gram.
That's funny. Yeah, that's definitely not.
Good one. Okay, let's get back on point. This is going to be a half an hour conversation, it sounds like.
Oh God.
Here we go. All right, here we go. All right. So getting back on point. Pretty interesting craft, no doubt. All right, so here comes in 1924, the French engineer
Etienne Mission.
And check out this crap, man. He flew 360 meters, or almost 1,200 feet, set in a
quarter of a mile, right?
Yeah, 1 kilometer in circles, and it took him, Brad.
Yeah.
He made
I made this comment earlier.
40 seconds.
7 minutes and 40 seconds to go 0.6 miles, which we're laughing now, but that was just crawling, to go that distance. But that's amazing for that time.
Well, just to give you a little bit of context, Air 2S can do that. In 7 minutes, they can do 4 kilometers.
Right. No, easily.
That's crazy. All right. So at the same time, this other craft that you see here below us, and we'll examine that a little closer if you can, guys. We'll be asking you guys a couple questions. All right. So George de Boffsat, I don't know how to pronounce it. Apologies, George. Built and tested his quadcopter for the U.S. Army, completed a number of test flights before the program was scrapped. That would break my heart. It's like throwing my child out with the bathtub, right? Bathwater, whatever the saying is.
Crazy ideas from folks back then. I'm sure it just probably looked like something from out of this world.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out where's the pilot.
Somewhere down in the middle of that thing.
And all that stuff in the spaghetti there, I think.
Yeah.
And it looked like almost the same kind of, propulsion system, an engine in the middle, turning 4 shafts. But look how many how many blades were on that prop.
So it's hard to tell, but
Looks
because
like
exposure, it might not be 5 because these were long exposures. I don't know. It would have probably been blurrier, I guess. But it does look like 5 to me as well.
But what is amazing to me that we're talking 1920s and people are actually getting in these contraptions and flying now.
Right.
That's amazing.
Look at the wheels, though. I'm saying 4 wheels, right? Or is that 3 wheels?
3 wheels.
No, there's 4. There's a 4th one there.
Oh,
I was going to say, it's supposed to have lift. The drone is supposed to have lift to go up. I mean, I've landed a couple like this, but it looks like he's like taking off. But we know that's not right because it's only got lift on it.
Well, back then they probably didn't know any better. They probably didn't know they could just go straight up with the technology they had. They had to get some forward momentum to get it moving
Get it in a direction.
Yep.
But it's just amazing, that men and engineers and aeronautical stuff were doing that stuff, right? 1924. All right, should we continue?
Absolutely.
All right.
It's got my attention. I'm hoping we keep everybody else's attention in the chat.
Yeah. There's a lot of folks joining in, it looks like.
Drone H63, I don't think it has RTH built into it.
Hey, I see we got Joan Fox's Green Mountain droning on.
Hey, I love the comments, and I knew they were going to come like this.
Yeah. All right, next one. Here we go. Check this craft out, man.
Oh, my gosh.
This is jumping 30 years, okay? So in 1956, the converter-wing quadcopter, prototype for a larger civil quadrotor, flew successfully many times in the 1950s. Because of lack of orders from the military, the project was terminated. So it was obviously stated it was a civil quad rotor, so that means, it was a private company. But check this out. It flew 80 miles an hour.
That's fast for 1956 for an aircraft like that.
And it weighed.
Thing was heavy.
It weighed a ton, a little bit
Wow.
over a ton.
Yep, a little over a ton. That's heavy. Diameter of the rotors, 1 foot 4 inches.
No, that's incorrect. Let me
No?
look it up. That's a typo. It was like 17 or so. Let me see if I can find it. I might.
Okay.
I was going to say
Yeah,
that.
I was going to say those rotors look a lot
That's-
heavier.
Yeah, no, though. Unfortunately, it's a typo, guys. My fault.
Okay, that's all right.
Nope, I can't. I don't have it that handy, but I believe it was close to 20 feet. So it was like 19 feet 4 inches.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was, I guess, a prototype for a larger one that the Army decided not to use. It's just crazy. That thing was rocking 80 miles an hour. Come on. Oh, wait. Let's take a look and see if you find anything interesting in here. It's so hard to see. Horrible picture. It's the only picture I could find, guys.
Well, guys, you got to keep in mind this. If you look at a lot of these names, they don't sound like they're American names. You know, we never adapted the metric system either. So
Right.
some of these numbers look a little bit funny.
That's right.
But you can see the guy's clearly sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm seeing? That
or at
shadow in
least-
the middle?
At least it's some type of dark figure in there.
Or
That
is that
might
a
be
motor?
some type of I don't know.
I
Just
think it can't be a guy because it's 20 feet long, 26 feet long, so the proportion of a person doesn't look right.
so a person would look very tiny in this device.
Yeah, it might be the black figure up front or in the back. I don't know.
It's hard to tell what the front is.
With this
Yeah.
photo, yeah.
Yeah,
But again, back to your point, 80 miles per hour, that's pretty impressive.
impressive indeed. All right, let's see what I got for laughs. And what I have for laughs is just my references that I use. Some of the references that I use for, sorry, I didn't mean to go black, but
We definitely used Google to our advantage today and did a lot of search and research for this information. And it was so much of it, so it was pretty tedious to break it down to smaller chunks like we just presented, and it's by far not a fraction of what's out there, what you just presented out.
I know there's so much more to be had, guys, and I think this definitely warrants maybe another
Visit, yeah,
conversation later. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, that was good.
What do you think, Robbie? Should we consider this? So, how about you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a place for us to be able to pull this back in again, but maybe be a little more specific about maybe a certain time period and certain aircraft testing and then development, you know?
Yeah, and I want to share something that Fred put together also. Let me see if I can find Fred's post real quick. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. But let me see if I can find his post.
That's a shame because I was going to give him a hard time.
I think he's in quarantine, not telling us.
Fred, if you're watching the replay, sorry, buddy. Sorry you're having a bad day.
Okay. All right. So let me share what he sent me because I know he probably spent a little time researching and it's worth sending it out to everybody. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you the time. This is all timelines by DroneFather.net. You can see that right up top. So we're giving these guys a little bit of plug, and you can see that his timeline starts in 1782 by unmanned balloons in France. In the
So this is like the first air travel by balloon.
By anything, right? So
right, by anything.
And then the Austrians used bomb-filled balloons against Venice in 1848. Excuse me. And then our famous Tesla.
Nikola Tesla. He
got ripped off big time, but anyway.
He did. That's another subject.
Yeah, but actually that'd be definitely a good conversation for sure. Anyway, the Tesla demonstrates how a boat can be operated by radio waves. I remember seeing that as a kid, man. I thought that was super cool.
Boy, you're old. 1860. You saw that?
And then the first UAV using a camera was 1896 for surveillance. 1910. So you can see it's not relegated just to the drone side, but very interesting facts.
Just aerial in general, just things.
Yeah.
The balloon was first, and then things came quickly after that.
Yeah. And then we start seeing in 1974, like, the first, the Predator style, and Israeli and American military starting to use the drones. So, yeah. And then the other, okay, so when does the quadcopter really hit our timeline here? 2007? Oh, no, that's the Reaper. So here it is right here.
Yeah, 2014-ish was about the time when we were starting to really they were getting more serious about the UAVs, the quadcopters.
Yeah, it looks like 2007 is when
the consumer level, we should say, consumer level quadcopters.
In 14, it looks like the military was spending close to $24 billion for 5 years on drone research. Wow, pretty interesting. And then
we had DJI hit the market in 2016 and just blew things up with the Mavic. Now DJI was around before that, of course.
Yeah, but you bought the original Mavic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people I know and have talked to that in 2016-ish, when they started getting into the Mavic series. The Phantoms have been around for a few years and were definitely solid drones. I didn't ever own one of those. Maybe I will soon one of these days.
But, yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed.
But the Mavics definitely were a completely different product than the Phantoms.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, it's just amazing. And we probably have some more information to share with you guys here. Let me see. Let's see. Show that. Okay, I'm trying to find something here, Robby. Oh, okay. Okay, I could do that. I got some other stuff I wanted to share with you here, if I can get it up on. That sounds right.
If you can get my big mug off the screen.
Yeah, I got it. Move around a couple things here. It seems like I just misplaced my controls here for some reason. So give me a second.
Yeah, we might lose some. You might lose some folks if I have to keep looking at my face.
Well, one of the things that I want to do is find my. I have too many windows open, obviously, and I can't find the window that I need. My apologies. My apologies. Where'd my StreamYard window go? All right, so take this time to talk about spin up.
Well, we know spin up's coming in November. Let me pull up the information so I get everything correct. Of course, I can't show you guys a lot. Everybody in the chat knows about spin up for the most part. It's November 6th, and it is going to be in Alston, Texas again, which is one of the best places to have it, seeing how Kelly Shores lives there. It is going to be a huge event this year, I feel, because a lot of folks will want to be getting out, kind of post-COVID, maybe the end of COVID. So we're going to have probably a huge crowd. I think the most we've had at some of the previous ones, which I've been to all of them, the 3 previous ones, even the virtual one I was at, because I had to help some with Kelly. Well, I didn't have to help, but I volunteered to help, so I flew there to help with it. We probably had 100 at the previous one. I think this one's going to probably break that record and probably be 150 plus. And tickets are still on sale. The $99 tickets to qualify for prizes have been all used up, and Matt Cundiff was the one to buy the last one on the $50 ones. It is now up to the next tier, which is the another round tier, as Kelly's calling it, round 2, and they're $120 plus a service fee. There's still 69 tickets left at that price. As of July 31st, that goes up to $140 plus fee of about $6.50 plus sales tax. And that would be the round 3 last call. So get your tickets while you can if you don't already have them. Again, I think most folks in the chat already have them. It's going to be at the Cedar Park Recreation Center in Cedar Park, Texas. It's going to be a nice event. I think behind there's a place to fly drones. I think one of the first spin up, I think they flew the day after at this particular park. And there's going to be a lot of prizes. They have not been announced yet. The speakers, we know there's going to be plenty of speakers. We just haven't had an announcement on that yet. And Kelly's getting all that prepared. I chat with him from time to time, and he's trying to just make sure he knows for sure who's going to be there, and then he'll announce it. So with your entry, you'll get snacks and lunch on the day of the event. There'll be a Spin Up 2021 T-shirt, access to the event, of course, and then you'll be definitely rubbing elbows with speakers, some of the big time folks, which I'll call out Ken Herring, Kelly Shores himself, and some of the speakers I'm sure that are coming in are going to be celebs.
So did we get a chance to talk about some of the giveaways that we're going to have a Spin Up?
There will be Spin Up. There will be giveaways at Spin Up, but I don't think Kelly has announced what those giveaways are yet. There will be sponsorship by DJI and Emax, and I'm sure a handful of others that he hasn't locked down yet. But yeah. Kelly's had a very nice relationship with DJI for, I want to say, at least 4 years.
At least.
And where we should be able to, and I'm just speculating, I probably shouldn't do this, but we'll see a handful of drone kits. And it might even include whatever the next drone is that DJI is putting out, an M3 or whatever it's going to be called.
Oh, wow. That would be awesome, guys. I'm very interested on the Emax giveaway, especially if they're doing 5-inch quads. So that's what I would want out of the deal. But that's just me, because I prefer flying FPV drones over quadcopter drones nowadays.
Yeah.
These things are so much fun, guys. You got to get into it.
Well, I think this year, and you're bringing up FPV, and a good point. I think this year it's going to be more FPV talk and flying than ever. I mean, last year, even at the virtual one that I went to, we didn't have but a handful of people because of COVID, but we did some FPV flying, and I tried a little bit. I'm still no good at it. And I do have an Emax Tiny Hawk 2 ready to fly kit, and I still haven't flown that thing hardly at all. But all that being said, I think FPV, this event's for all FPV, all drone folks, for FPV, camera drones, pretty much the gamut of all the UAVs on the quadcopter side.
Yeah, super stuff. Super fun. Thank you, Brad, for filling in the time for my I misplaced. I have some.
Oh, we lost like 20 people, and we only had 15. No, we didn't.
So, as you can see from the background of how many windows I have open, many. Okay, but Robby just sent me this, and I wanted to just kind of take a look at this, guys. So they got a mini whoop all the way at the bottom. It looks like, Brad, you can speak to the frame. Doesn't that look like a 3D printed frame to you?
I can't see it close enough, but that would be easy enough to be 3D printed on the frame. Yeah.
Yeah. Robby, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a Da Vinci design here. And actually, the reason I sent you this is BMAC Aerial Visuals had made a comment and said any history of quads, rotary aircraft should be give some mention to Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh my gosh, he is so right about that. You know what? And I think that would be a really good conversation piece to have. Or we could definitely have a topic on that, wouldn't you think, guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Give some feedback, guys, on the chat.
Yeah, in the chat, let us know what you think.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys want to, have discussed, because it's all about you guys. So let us know. But yeah, and you sent me a couple other links, Robbie. So let me see what I can find here. Okay.
And while you're doing that, I'll just say, to add on top of that for the chat, most of these folks in the chat know how to contact us. At least me or you, Al. Robbie, you might not know a lot of these folks in the chat, maybe seen them in places, excuse me, in other live streams or places online. But anybody can reach out to any one of us. If you have an idea that you would like to hear a little bit more about, we try to spend 15, 20 minutes on a topic and have a couple of topics each Monday night. So we're getting this live stream rolling here, and this is our third one. So we're still working on trying to figure it all out.
Hey, Robbie, should we move on to the next topic, guys?
Yes.
Or continue on this one?
No, I think we're ready to roll on.
Okay, let's go ahead and roll on. So the next topic, let me get my control back on my window again here. I see misplaced it again in the 2,300 windows that I have open. Find it again. Where'd it go? It's got to be this one. I'm sure it is. Yep.
Yeah, Matt kind of says drones in general is where it's at. So yeah, we definitely will stick to the drones one way or the other. But we might deviate from that every once in a while to bring in a little bit of new tech.
Okay, and Robbie, do you have the manual that you can share with us, or do you want me to send me the link and I can share it?
Okay.
And then we can go through. So the next topic we're going to get into is the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. And the reason why I want to get into it is they just released a manual for their for the Mini, for the Zino Mini. And so we definitely wanted to chat and share with you guys what some of that manual is referring to here. So, as you know, it's an interesting drone because it does have a lot of track functions. I don't know how good would it be, depending how much engineering they've done since the Zino 2 Pro was released. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Hold on one second. I need to send you the Mini. Sorry.
No worries.
All right, so and I just want to, while we're working through this, just welcome to anybody else that's come into the chat recently. We had 17 earlier, we got 15 now, but and we've got 15 thumbs up, so we appreciate that. We have a thumbs down, no worries.
Hey, Johnny.
There you go, Al.
Thank you, sir. All right. Let's see if I can show this. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys so we can go over the specs on the Mini Pro real quick. I know a couple things jumped out at you, right, Robbie?
Yeah, a few things.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and let's see, share my screen again.
I love how when they put these out and they give the specs, the first thing everybody looks at is the flight time. And it's always fake news. 40 minutes, it's not going to happen.
Well, then maybe we should jump down to the flight time. All right, I'm going all the way to the bottom, guys, and working my way up.
There's something to be said about that. I mean, that's something I think about every time, a new drone's announced. What's the battery life on the drone, and what's the distance? Now, the distance, I don't care that it can fly, 12 kilometers away, I care that the signal strength is going to be a lot better, in my opinion, closer in for line of sight when you have a 12-kilometer range with something like that. So as a consumer of drones, I think about battery life all the time on these new ones that are coming out.
As a new drone person being into it for my first year, I learned pretty quick when I went out and went with Al for the first time, and I was testing out the different drones to determine what I was going to buy. And I believe the first time I flew like a Spark, I think it was a Spark.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, this is great. And we were flying down a football field from one post to the other one. And I look and something flies by me, and it's Al with his Mavic Pro 2. I thought, this is great that it flies, but why would I want this slow thing when I can have this? So battery life is important, but also your speed matters. Now, the specs on these, as you start looking through, it says that it's got a distance of 15.5 kilometers.
I wonder where this.
Wow.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry. 25 kilometers. That's like 25 kilometers is 15.5 miles. Is that right?
Wow. I'm looking it up right now.
there's for every 5K, it's 3.2 miles.
Yeah, you're exactly right. 15.5 miles.
That's just like, I don't know. Me and Al have done a lot of range tests with a lot of drones. I want to see this, and I want to see it happen.
Yeah,
because if you're going to fly 40 minutes, in normal mode, there's no way, because the drone only goes 2.9 meters per second. So that would give you a max flight time of 20 minutes. And that's creeping, dude. That's like, that ain't no speed.
How many 2.5 meters per second?
6.9 meters per second.
Oh, 6.9.
That's in cinematic mode. Cinematic mode, which who here flies in cinematic mode? Nobody. Everybody flies in normal mode.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go that far out, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do, just to start with 1.1 and just kind of rip right through here as fast as we can. I mean, one of the things that jumps out at me is the power button straight in the back. It looks like right next to the battery. Anything jump out at you guys? Usually it's in the back or the top. I mean, on the bottom or the top. Usually.
Yeah, the propellers the props are just like the Mini.
Yeah.
Yeah. So got the screws in them. Yep.
Yeah.
Just like the Mini.
Yep. Okay. And then we see the side port. Kind of shows the bind button and where your battery buckle. Okay, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see at the bottom, we see the infrared altitude hold system and the vision system, and it actually has a light too. That's nice. Did you see that? Number 15. So we're getting a light on the bottom, and that's useful, especially if you can turn it on and off, right, Robby?
Yeah.
Because that's something, I noticed that you use quite often, right?
Yeah, on the Air 2? Air 2S?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then to show the charger, I actually like this charger, guys. I like the multiple quad. This other charger here doesn't look like it. It looks like.
I saw a picture of that before in the last week or two, and I'm torn on that because I do like the DJI one that's just a flat looking, piece of plastic with 3 ports on it for the batteries for the Air 2S. And it has definitely a power pack and a cable connects to it, but you can throw that thing in your pocket.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this one you just were showing, whether or not it has a power pack or if the power is built into that cube.
Yeah, it looks like there's some kind of electronics in the middle, Brad.
Okay. So maybe built into that, and all you would need is probably a Type-C USB or a micro USB to power
I'm
it.
hoping they have a direct AC plug right to it, but they're not showing it. But it looks that way because they're probably going to only charge one battery at a time, just like DJI is doing today.
Otherwise, I need a lot more amperage to do all of them at once, right?
It'll be big old brick, right?
Yep, it would be.
It'd be too big.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Anything jump out at you guys here? The install of the battery? No, nothing.
Bring that thing back into view again, Al.
Okay. Let me get that. Thank you for keeping me straight. Share. There we go. Okay, so this was the battery pack we were discussing, and this one looks like you put in your pocket, and this one definitely not.
So that other one's just a single charger, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like
charger head. Yeah,
because they're talking about this adapter here plugging right into the side. It looks like just a USB-A type connector, but can't tell by the picture.
I read some stuff today, and I don't know where this comes from because it's not actually out yet, but a couple of people were talking. I don't know if it was the manufacturer. I didn't check all the comments, but they were talking about when you charge this thing, don't plug it into a car charger. I don't know how they would even know that that was the issue unless maybe some of the past drones have had the issue. But with this pack where you hook the 3 on, they were talking about only use the power source it was given for the wall. Don't try to run it off of an automobile, which I would think it would be able to differentiate and do it correctly. But I had 2 or 3 people that made comments, and I was like, maybe there's something I don't know about in the history of the batteries for their products where they've had issues. But they were saying that, don't plug it in anything that's not conventional. Wasn't made for the manufacturer because it'll cause problems with the batteries, and they're LiPo batteries.
Yeah, I mean they're saying lithium batteries.
Yeah.
And but they're not saying that they're lithium ion or lithium polymer, right?
So would there be an issue if you used let's say one of the cheaper USB chargers that have or a half an amp or even a 1 amp? If you didn't charge this thing to its fullest capacity, would there be an issue down the road after doing that multiple times? The battery, would it have a memory effect of some sort?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not with today's lithium-ion batteries, especially.
Right. I don't think it's supposed to have a memory effect. I just called that out as a kind of something as a question mark.
I mean, the only problem you're going to have with a LiPo, but most of these smart batteries protect themselves from bringing your battery down.
They all have the circuitry built into them.
Yeah, because I blew up 3 of my batteries by discharging them below 20%, and now I can't charge them again. Because they're too low and they can't be charged.
That might be and I'm calling it out here in the stream, but that might be a good future topic for one of our shows. Batteries.
Yeah.
Yep.
Batteries. Yeah. And I think that the FPV world today is probably going to go ahead and move toward, maybe the FPV manufacturers are starting incorporating, smart batteries, because then they lock you in just to their type batteries, but it saves a lot of batteries, it really does.
Right.
And, I did it because, I was rookie to FPV and didn't know any better because I didn't have the right equipment to tell me when my batteries were dropping below 20%. But now I know better because I got the battery tester that you saw, Brad, and you too, Robby. Okay. All right. So let's get down to it here. Temperatures looks all pretty standard for us here. Nothing jumps out between 5C and 40C. Low temperature is minus 10C, so we're talking 20 degrees or so. TV, because 0 would be 32. Then, Robby, here's your point. These look just like the Mini.
Oh, you might want to share again.
Oh, share. Here we go. Share it. Share. Thank you. Yeah, so the props looks just like all the Minis that we have on the market.
Yeah, looks just like it.
They need to update their controller. The controller looks like the first Mavics.
Yeah.
The antennas, it's just kind of outdated. They need to update that. And
this is
what they come out with.
Yeah, that's a good point, Robby, because this is the Zino 2 Pro or the Zino 2 controller here, because you now put the controller down at the bottom and you got an LCD display on the number 6 there. And the antennas the charging ports look the same. So I hope to make a better USB connector on here. I wonder if they show number 16 cable storage slot. No, I'm looking at the port. What kind of port are they using for charging? I wondered. Charging adapter port.
Hope it's a Type C,
Yeah, I hope so too.
but it may not be. It may be something proprietary.
Everybody, yeah, I hope it is.
I just wasn't impressed with the controller that much. Now
Yeah.
the app, as we get to that, we can talk about the app.
And here's the display on the controller. Nothing unusual. You know, the 3 speeds here. Battery lights on the left. Okay. Then we see the 3 speeds, you know, from film to normal to sports. The number of satellites, signal strength. I mean, it's all exactly the same as it was on the Zino 2. Okay, so remote controller range. Where's the specs? I got to find the specs. Here's how you can download the app, guys. So if you're interested in downloading the app, put the links in the description and in the video after we post it.
Yeah, the app's good. The app on this one is going to allow you to live stream directly to YouTube, built into the app.
Oh,
It's all
nice
built
feature.
in. Yeah, and it's nice. So that's going to be I didn't see that it would let you live stream to multiple, but it is set up to stream directly from the app.
That's very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So it looks like they got a slider here for the zoom on your phone, so you can hold
So
that.
Al, I was able to pull the web page up with my phone, right, with that QR code right there on the screen.
Oh wow, nice.
Now,
Nice.
Al, the camera on this is what, a 6x zoom, correct?
That's what they're saying, and 4K 30, obviously.
Right.
Parent aircraft. We're not going to go into that. We want
You
horizontal.
you said 4K 30?
Yeah,
Okay. No 60 then. Oh, is it a 1080 60?
yeah. 1080 is
Okay.
going to be able to do 60.
Okay.
They used to be able to do on the Zino 2. You could do 4K 60.
hmm
But I haven't seen. Let me jump in here. Return to home. You notice what they call the helipad or landing pad. They call it the apron search. So it looks like when the aircraft is landing or returned to a height of about 30 feet from the ground, it will automatically enter in the search for the apron function. Okay.
So it's searching for an image it took when it took off from the position it was at when
Yeah.
it lifted off.
And I think you're going to have to use the regular forward-looking camera to look down. That's what we've had to do in the past.
So is that
Yeah.
because
No.
it doesn't have a sensor that can do that on the bottom?
Yeah, I don't think the optical flow camera on the bottom is not that good.
Hey, Al, in the chat, Drone Views Media asks, does it do 4K 24?
That's a good question. Tell them we'll figure this out.
Because it does 4K 30?
That's 4K 30. Yeah, 24 is really nice to have because of the studios. They like to run at 24.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing about 24 that's good is if you run 24 frames per second in the evening, it leaves that shutter open longer, so it's able to get more light into the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get better images in the evening if you're videoing. And so I've used the line flight mode. I really like it. I like the follow me mode. I've never used the hyperlapse successfully with the Zino 2. But I'm sure you guys will probably have out there, so drop us a comment. So they have panorama mode. Set the photo mode and the camera setting to panorama. You can choose 180. What else can you choose? That's it. Aircraft will not stitch and compose the final panoramas or spheres. You will need to use aftermarket software to perform the stitching.
What is aftermarket? Oh, okay. So a video edit,
Yeah,
a photo editing software. Yeah.
Paint Shop,
Okay.
or Photoshop, You can use, you can use DJI's. What was it called? I can't remember. Media Maker or something like that.
Yeah, I use Premiere.
I didn't hear you either one of y'all say this, but this doesn't do it raw at all, does it?
That's a good point. I'm trying to get. They don't have the specs here for some reason.
Okay.
This is just the manual. So let me pull up the web page, guys.
Yeah, Al, we're about 5 minutes away from the 1 hour mark. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, we should probably wrap this thing up.
Oh, this is all good. It's got me on the edge of my seat, and I don't even own one of these, or will own one of these probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is an impressive little sucker, man. It's a little bit.
It does look like it, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes up to 200 bit as well, right, on the video?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's way up there.
I'm not sure how much of this is overstated.
Right.
And there's a max flight time that we're talking about, Robby.
40 minutes.
Yeah, it says 30. Yeah, it says 40 minutes.
Or 37 hovering, right?
You have to be moving 6 meters a second.
And that's not flat out. That's just kind of just cruising, right?
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah, just.
We've discussed this before. The nice thing is that we're going to get 1K 30 frames a second video on our phones at 20 megabits a second. So that's nice.
This is supposed to have a better active track on it, but
Yeah.
I don't know how compared to the one before it came out, what the difference is going to be on that. But they did say that it was going to be better. And also another thing to mention on this is they're following DJI on this, where they do the DJI care for your warranty. If something happens to the
that's
drone.
where the buddy is, right, Robby?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're having a new one. It's a Hubsan Care. It's $59 a year. And they've got a $249 replacement price for the drone.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
So for all you people out there that get it, I mean, when I bought my Air 2, I actually was going to buy the care package, and then said, well, since you live in Thailand, we don't cover the warranty. And another question is what really is covered in these warranties? I mean, Al, of course, got a new Skydio when the Skydio went in the water, but it turned out to be a glitch in the software, and they actually put a firmware update out to fix that issue. But what's actually covered in that? I mean, if it fell and broke, I mean, a lot of drones fall in water and you never see them again. So I guess the warranty going to cover them. So read your warranties before you buy these products, as far as buying the care packages with it, and also look and see when you buy it what countries it covers, because I was going to buy the DJI, and then they told me, well, you can buy it, but we're not going to help you because you're in Asia, so you got to get it all through them. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to have my drone here and take it there and use it, but they don't offer it. So that may be something to check in, depending on where some of you guys actually live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, interesting.
I think it has a lot to do with the cost these days for shipping, right, to these other countries. And
well, I think a lot of it is and Al may know this from Dell, but I know that when I was living in Costa Rica, I called about buying a Dell, and I called in the U.S. and they said, well, we can't sell it to you because you're in Costa Rica. You have to call Costa Rica. It's like, why? And they're like, you have to buy from your own region. And it's the same way in Asia. When you buy it, you can't order it and have it shipped over there. They won't do it. They give you a number and you've got to buy it local. So I don't know whether it's keeping it in their own warranty coverage area for selling a product for replacement situations or what.
It might be the rules and regulations for I don't know what the proper term is for the marketing, the selling of the product, and it might have something to do with taxes and import tariffs and all kinds of things.
Or territories also could be
territories. Yeah.
Hey, Robby, do you remember who asked the question about 4K 24 frames a second? I don't see
the
specs.
Let's see. It was.
I think it was Drone Views Media.
It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, unfortunately, not. So, but I found an error also here. It said that the battery was 2,400 mAhs, and then in the manual it said it was 3,000 mAhs. I highlighted MAH. Sorry. Yeah. And so, but here's the 200.
So,
about.
so
Yeah.
calling out those differences in the manual and here, you know, that then it starts making you wonder, all right, what are they lying about? What are they overstating, you know?
Well, yeah, you kind of lose a lot of credibility along the
Yeah.
process, right? So,
Hey,
yeah.
and it did say, what did it say up above when you were scrolling about 6x hybrid zoom? So that's probably interpolated zoom, right? Software.
Yeah, electronics.
Yeah, electronic zoom.
Electronic, yeah.
Yeah. So hybrid is their way of saying that.
Hey Al,
Yeah.
can you bring that manual back up real quick?
Sure.
I think I was looking at the storage on that, and I had not paid attention to that. I wanted to see what the storage. What does it say right there? It's got a built-in eMMC 64 gig.
Yeah, so you can buy it.
Okay.
You can buy it with internal memory.
Okay.
So there'll be two flavors, I guess.
Yeah, I would be a big fan of it, but 64 is good. I mean, because 8 gigs that you get on the air, and on the Mavic 2, it's just not enough. So when you forget your card, you have to film it. Like if you're shooting video, I was shooting 10K. I mean,
we've never forgot a video. I mean, we've never forgot a memory card out.
Hey, so I want to call out something. This being said, 64 gigs and 128 gigs, the two different flavors for this drone. Does that mean it does not have a slot for another card?
Yeah, well, they're just talking about internal storage.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
just like we see in the Air 2S today.
okay, all right.
I wonder what the price difference is going to be between the two, because they're not going to be the same price. I'm just curious.
No, it was like $100 difference, which is
That's a big price difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I wish Fred was here because I think he
And the
bought
chips.
128.
The chips on the boards and the whatever they had to do to make the 128 work over the 64 probably cost $3 more, and they've got a $100 markup.
Well, we got a cure. Would y'all buy these drones? Ship them over to Al, and Al will resolder a bigger chip on there.
That's true. Right.
Hey, it's true. They do it. When I went to China, I went to the cell phone place, and I was like, look, dude, I need a phone. He's like, what do you want? I was like, I don't know. I want like an iPhone 7. He's like, come here for a minute. And I said, oh, you sell the iPhone 7? He goes, no, watch. And he sent 4 or 5 guys walking around. They brought all the parts back. I said, what is he? He said, replacement parts. We're going to build you one. 20 minutes later, I walked out of there for $100 with an iPhone 7, and it was working.
Oh, wow.
Sure did.
That's funny.
It's who you know. So, yeah. I don't know, guys. This topic here will probably have to be addressed again. I don't think we did it justice. But the Zino Mini Pro is what I was talking about. I don't know. I like what I see on paper, but, a lot of times what we see on paper is not what we get, right?
I'm sure we will, and many others will go over this again and again for a while until we know for sure.
Yeah.
Once we see the final product.
Agreed. I mean, I love my little Fimi Mini, and there's a lot of people out there that didn't get a good product. I mean, Marcus included.
Well, there's been some up and downs with that, right? I mean, some people seem to have had a good product, and then one firmware after another seemed to be good, and then you get like the latest firmware, and then your horizon tilts back in again.
Yeah.
One thing, and I want to say, there's 2 people on here. Gorilla Man's Garage said there's not going to be an SD card slot on there, and also Fly Zone Drone says it's all internal storage.
I kind of thought that, because why would you offer a 64 and a 128?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Just thinking about the drones of DJI that have the 8 gigs.
Yeah,
just one, and then they have a slot, to be able to put in upwards of a 128, or depends on which drone you have, how high you can go. But yeah, I think it's not going to have a slot either. That's why I brought that up.
That's a good point. Well, let's revisit this before we drop off. I know we're bleeding over about 5 more minutes, but let's take a look at the manual here, and let's see if we can find it. If you guys could shout out if I blow by it, let me know.
Gorilla Man's Garage, when you're saying no, were you saying no, there's not an ST slot, or?
I believe that, because he definitely gets all the details.
Yeah, I still can't imagine they would throw that much memory in one of those units and still have a slot. I mean, that
Yeah,
kind
not to have two options. If it was one
Right.
option, I could see a slot. But you're right. 'Cause, I
Right.
mean, honestly, just throw an SD card in there. They're not
Yeah.
that expensive.
And Matt just called it out. It's all internal, and
Yeah.
I think they're all correct. And some of these guys know a lot better than we do.
Yeah, it's all internal. So I'm glad you guys point out, because if you look at number 11 right
Yeah.
here, what does that look like?
It looks like it just, yeah, you can zoom right on in. It does look like a slot for a memory card. But what does it say that is, the 11?
Oh, 11 is just the bind button.
Bind button, but up above it,
They're not pointing to the slot. You notice that?
that's deceiving. They probably left that in there to make you think it might have a slot, but I agree with the guys in the chat. I don't think it's going to have a slot.
Yeah, it looks that way, because
You wouldn't offer two different flavors.
well, they would have put it out on the manual right here.
Yeah.
But I had just assumed by looking at the slot that it was an SD card. Which, what does the coach say? Assume makes an ass out of you.
Yeah, I remember that from way back. Don't assume anything.
Yeah, assume makes an ass out of you and me. So,
And you
hey,
and me.
thanks for pointing that out, Gorilla Man. Appreciate it. Yeah, so awesome.
All right.
So, again, guys, keep dropping comments. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about, because the shows are all about you. All right. Anything else, guys? I think we.
Yeah,
should-
I've got one question for everybody out there. Everywhere I've been looking lately, they've been advertising these parachutes. I mean, do they work? How do you activate them? Is there a button that you hit? I mean, anytime we've seen drones fall, it's instant. So is there something that's turning these on? And number two, when they go off, I mean, what's it? The propeller's hitting it or what? I'm just curious. I've never actually seen one. I would want to take a drone up and test it, and the propeller get caught in it and crash the drone. So I'm really curious to know if anybody out there has bought one or tested one, just to see how they actually work.
Yeah, I'm actually pulling up YouTube to have this search later.
Yeah, because you think about it. Do they have something that's like hooked in? You know how you can reprogram the I guess it's the light button where you can use it to zoom. Is there a feature where that's used for the parachute? Is the parachute a separate signal? And what is the distance on that? And I mean, how would you know when to use it? I mean, I guess if you were flying back, you flew too far and you knew you're going to run out of battery and you saw an area, if you could activate it to land. But I mean, they drop so quick.
Yeah, at 400 feet. Yeah, it's going to be, even at 400 feet, it's going to be on the ground in seconds.
Exactly. Or it's going to be in a tree down near Trinidad.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was thinking is, you know how you buy the fishing kits and it's released by the photoelectric cell? When you turn on the LED, the sensor picks up the light and opens up the, I don't know, whatever circuit that it triggers to. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
I'm going to say something real quick. The first time I went, even before I bought my drone, Al called me and he said, "Hey, you want to ride with me?" He said, "I got to go get my drone." And I said, where is it? He said, "I went to this tree." So we went down to the James River and it was in the very, very top of the tree. And we were looking at each other like, we can't climb this tree. So we went out to try to find some labor people to climb that tree. We came back and Al said, "The drone's gone." Someone took the drone. We thought it fell out and someone took it and ran off. So we're asking people, you see anybody walking around with a drone and everything? So at that time, I think I might have got my Air 2 or something.
That was a Zino too.
Yeah. So we flew up and we zoomed in on it and he goes, "Man, it's still in the tree. It's there." Well, we couldn't get it out. So Al calls me the next morning at like 4:40 in the morning. He's like, "I got it. It rained last night. I was there before anybody was there and it was laying on the ground." So it's really funny when these things land, in trees and different stuff. People find them. People find them all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, so funny talking about that. My neighbor next door calls me and he goes, "Hey, did you lose a drone?" I go, "I don't think so." He goes, "Well, I have a drone in my backyard. You want to come look at it?" So I go over there and look at it. It was a toy drone about this big.
Al's thinking, oh man, it's going to be like a DJI drone. He gets over there.
It's an Inspire 2 from DJI.
Exactly. It's in the tree. I'll climb.
It would have been an Expire too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks for all the help, Brad. Thanks for.
Oh no, it was a great show. We got some good information out there. I wish we could have gave more, but there's only been so much time.
I know, and I know it's 8:10, so we're 10 minutes over. Had a great conversation, guys. All right, so how do we gonna end it? By saying thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys joining. Looking forward to reading your comments once I get off here. All right, thanks again.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you guys. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Thanks for stopping by and supporting the channel, supporting the show.
See you on the next live stream.
Peace.
Yep.